The Humber Student Federation election polls closed today.
And many roads will be closed this Sunday because of the St. Patrick's Day. Humber News starts now.
Hello, it's Friday, March 15th. Welcome to Humber News, coming to you from the Broadcast Center here at the North Campus. I'm Amber Doherty. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Shiloh Adams. Ahead on our show, we have all your news and sports highlights, as well as your 5-day weather forecast. But first, our top story.
Today is the final day to vote for the HSF elections, and students are turning out to cast their ballots. Stephen Donkers has the story.
This morning, Humber Travel Management student Vanessa Barone cast her votes for candidates of choice in today's Humber Students Federation election. This was the first time she voted in an HSF election.
I voted because I'm a student here at Humber College, and I feel like it's important to know who is participating in elections because they reflect the students here.
Today is the final day to vote in the HSF election. Students can vote for their choice of president of all Humber campuses, vice president for student affairs for North and Lakeshore campuses, vice presidents for student life for North and Lakeshore campuses, and board of directors for North and Lakeshore campuses. Guelph Humber student Peter Cadillac voted today and says it's vital for students to pick their representatives.
Students have a voice in every school they're at. Students should have their own opinions and stuff and should vote for the right candidate.
According to HSF officials, by day 4 or 5 of voting, over 6,000 votes have been cast so far. Now, this is actually an increase from last year's election, where over 5,000 votes were cast for a full 5 days of voting.
HSF Election Chief Returning Officer Natalie Quinlan says the excitement in voting in this year's election is palpable.
An amazing turnout for voting. I think it's also helped that, we have the little yo-yo incentives that students are really excited about. We also have drafted up little pamphlets with all the candidates and their platforms in these booklets this year that students have taken to the polls so that they can make an even better educated vote.
The polls close today at 4:30 p.m. and the winners will be announced at 5 p.m. on humberlife.com. Stephen Donkers, Humber News.
Thanks, Stephen. Clayton Ruby, the lawyer who led the charge against Mayor Rob Ford in the conflicts of interest case that nearly kicked Ford out of office, will ask the Supreme Court of Canada to hear a final appeal. Ruby is arguing a lower court ruling hinged on a technicality, and the matter is of national importance. Ruby will file his leave to appeal to the country's highest court today. Ford's counsel will have 60 days to respond. A decision on whether the Supreme Court will hear the case could take months.
Ontario's Lottery Corporation is reportedly offering Toronto a special deal if the city accepts their proposal for a casino. The corporation is said to be prepared to pay the city at least double that offered to other municipalities. OLG's chief executive says that's because a Toronto casino would be a bigger venture than those elsewhere in the province. He also said a casino in Toronto would bring in about $2 billion in construction financing from the private sector, generate new jobs, and make the city more appealing to tourists.
The St. Patrick's Day Parade will see several road closures on Sunday. Starting at 8 a.m., roads will begin to close south of Bloor Street and east of Spadina. The major road closures will begin just before noon as sections of Bloor Street, Yonge Street, and Queen Street West will all be closed. Those streets, along with sections of Bay Street and University Avenue, will remain closed until 3 p.m. The TTC will be rerouting buses in the area. The subway between Union and St. George will also be shut down all day for repairs.
Police will be out in force over St. Patrick's Day weekend because they say drinking and driving rates go up at this time of year. In addition to St. Patrick's Day, there's a big UFC event this weekend. Officers in Durham, York, and Peel regions, as well as Toronto Police and the OPP, will be on a safety blitz with numerous ride programs throughout the city.
A pastor from Toronto's West End is awaiting his bail hearing today on charges of sexual assault, sexual interference, and invitation to sexual touching. 36-year-old Artilino Velada was charged and arrested yesterday. He's from Jesus Christ the Open Door Church near Jane and Weston. The victims are said to include 4 females aged 14 to 21 in cases stemming from 2010, but police believe there may be more. Anyone with information is asked to contact the police or Crime Stoppers.
Guelph police are asking for witnesses to come forward following the tragic accident which left Constable Jennifer Kovac dead. She apparently lost control of her cruiser and crashed into a city bus early yesterday morning. There were no passengers on the bus, and police say the driver suffered only minor injuries. Police Chief Brian Larkin says investigators are looking into road conditions as a factor. The 26-year-old is the first officer with the Guelph Police Service to die in the line of duty since 1964, and only the third in its history. Guelph Police have set up a link on their website for people to send their condolences to Kovac's family.
When we come back, we'll have more news from around the country and the world. Marco DeMeo will have your sports news, and Samantha Martin will have your weather forecast.
The first day of spring is less than a week away, but we're still seeing winter weather. I'll have your 5-day forecast after the break.